Today I'm going to inform you about an iconic woman from the United States, Norma Jean Martinson. Don't you know her? Well, maybe not, but I'm sure you know a woman named Marilyn Monroe. A famous singer, actress, and model, she's still an icon to women today. With her wits, charm, and sex appeal, she'll go down in history. Today I will be informing you about her childhood, her career, her many relationships, and her controversial death. First, let's talk about her childhood. She was born June 1st, 1926 in Los Angeles, California as Norma Jean Martinson. Her mother was named Gladys and she had some disabilities, and she never knew her father. Her mother was eventually placed in a mental institute. Norma was put in an orphanage and later foster homes. Her mother's close friend named Grace took her in with her husband. According to biography.com, they were very religious, and among other prohibited activities, she was not allowed to go to the movies. She dropped out of high school when she was only 15. As Grace and her husband could not take care of her anymore, to avoid going back in the foster system, she married a boyfriend named Jimmy Doherty on June 19, 1942, at the age of 16. He enlisted in World War II, and when he came back, they got divorced shortly after in 1946. Next, I'll tell you about her careers in modeling and acting. Her first picture got taken in 1945 by photographer David Conover, as he was taking pictures of the women helping with the war effort. According to MarilynMonroe.com, by the end of 1946, her hair had become a platinum shade of blonde and her name was changed to Marilyn Monroe. Monroe modeled for pinup magazines in photos such as this, often in bikinis, being on the cover of several at a time. Come July 1946, these pinup pictures brought Monroe to the attention of casting director Ben Lyon of 20th Century Fox, and he called Marilyn for a screen test. In 1949, Tom Kelly, a photographer who had taken pictures of Marilyn before, had been after her to pose nude for a calendar and offered her $50. Since she was broke at the time, she hesitantly agreed. In 1953, Hugh Hefner bought these photos for $500 for the first issue of Playboy. In August 1946, 20th Century Fox offered Monroe a 6-month contract with the studio, which could be renewed every 6 months if she followed the contract. According to biography.com, her acting career didn't really take off until 1950s, though she had wanted to act since she was little. Her first big break was in 1949 when she had a small part in Love Happy as a woman asking for help because she was being followed. Though it was short, people took a lot of notice in her. According to imdb.com, she appeared in 33 films. Her most famous were Some Like It Hot and Marrying a Millionaire. Third, I'll be discussing her marriages and a famous affair. Her second marriage was to Joe DiMaggio, who was a famous baseball player, and they married June 14, 1954. Both of these idols had very sad childhoods, and the fans loved seeing them together. After her probably most famous scene from The 7-Year Itch, they had a falling out. They soon divorced after only 9 months in 1954. He later would be by her side when she was admitted into a psychiatric hospital, though they never reconciled. Her final marriage was to Arthur Miller, a famous writer and screenwriter. They married on June 29, 1956. She suffered from 2 miscarriages during the marriage. He wrote the movie The Misfits specifically for her. During the movie, she got very sick and began drinking a lot. After the film was complete, they divorced after 5 years of marriage, and Monroe had stated that they just were incompatible. Marilyn Monroe had a famous affair with John F. Kennedy, who was the president at the time. After performing Happy Birthday, Mr. President in 1962 is when the rumor started. People believe the president was having an affair with her because of how she sang it and the dress that she was in. According to the Independent newspaper, she called the First Lady, Jackie Kennedy, and confessed the affair to her. Finally, I'll tell you about her death and the controversy. Marilyn Monroe died August 5th, 1962. She was in her Los Angeles home. She was only 36 at the time. She'd overdosed on sleeping pills was the cause of death. According to About.com, her death was marked as a probable suicide and the case was closed. The empty bottle was found next to her in bed while she was holding her telephone. Some people believe that it was murder, and they believe that it may have had to do with the president or Robert Kennedy, his brother, who she had maybe been having an affair with. The last person she had spoken to was Robert Kennedy. Some people also believe it could have been the mafia because they believe she was involved with them. Marilyn Monroe once said, "Well-behaved women seldom make history," and I think she nailed it on the head. She's a woman who most definitely has gone down in history, and though she wasn't very well behaved, she was very beautiful, smart, and successful. It's been more than 50 years since her death, yet she's still a legend and a role model for many women today. As you could see with her childhood, her career, her relationships, and her controversial death, she had a very intriguing life and has inspired many actors and singers, and she will continue to inspire people forever. Thank you.